right, welcome everyone to another edition of Connectors Club. I am welcoming Miriam Dushane, who is the managing partner of Alaant Workforce Solutions, and also, when she's not doing that, doing networking events. So this is our topic of conversation today, but 518 Business Connect, right? 518 Business Connect?
518 Business Connect, yep.
So another, as we've gotten to network so much through the pandemic and in various calls such as that, and then the hour calls that I host. So gotten to know each other virtually very well, even though we've known each other for a little while. But so that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you and interview you with this little series that I'm doing on networking. So it's what I guess what we might more accurately call it relationship building. It's networking, kind of look at that as a task, but what we're really doing is, building relationships, either strengthening ones we've already had or making new ones. So. Yep. And I know that's known you for a while, and I know you're an avid networker and you like meeting new people and making connections, et cetera, and that helps with the work that you do as well. So I just wanted to ask you what you like about networking. What drives you in that regard? Is it a mission based, or is it just part of your personality, or both, or what?
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I mean, obviously, Alaant is a recruiting company first and foremost. So the more people you know, the more people you know that know other people that know other people, the better off you might be to find someone to fill a position that you're working on for your clients. So I think it's definitely mission driven. It's also my personality. Anyone who has met me knows I am a very outgoing person. Enjoy meeting people, getting to know them on a personal level. I'm not very, I like to get like deeper in and really get to learn about people's style and their personalities and what they like and don't like. And that really helps well when, I'm trying to work with an organization from a, culture perspective, personality perspective. So I do like networking. I mean, when we were meeting we were doing in-person events, I tried to do at least 2 or 3 plus a week, depending upon the week, depending upon the time of year. Sometimes a combination of like midday ones, like lunch ones, the Chamber does Women's Business Council, those types of things. And then obviously in the evenings, Business Review would always do kind of a combination of morning, noon, and night type of things. So depending upon what the subject matter was, that was the other thing for me when I went to events that were always a combination of networking and some type of program. I tried to align the programming with my interests, whether it be professional or the company's interests, because then I felt like I was meeting like-minded people that were interested in the same topics, that I'd have more in common with them, which then made the meeting people and networking people easier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, obviously, but for a little while now, we've been in this this crazy time, and I credit you with a comment that you made a while ago about another 2 weeks, and then it's another 2 months. So after a while, what we all expect to and want to get back to, being able to see folks in person, we've gotten used to this virtual way of doing it. The digital age, come to life, and that's the only thing you can do outside of your home is just get on Zoom. So what you had done before, you talked about a lot of these in-person events, Business Review. A lot for me was boards and committees and just being like, in activities that I had interest with others that, had similar skills or interests or in industry-wise or, not-for-profit or something like that. But just ways to meet them that way. Now it turned into this digital version. Now for me, a lot of the boards just stopped. They paused. But
really, they didn't do virtual stuff.
A couple of them did, but a couple of them just ceased, and they just put the pause button on, and they're going to go back to it. But so as far as tactics, it's a kind of a twofold question based on what are some of the things you might have done. I mean, you talked about some of the events, and you try to align with the event that you're going to, pre-pandemic, and then probably post-pandemic, and then what do you do in this age where you really can't get to see many people in person?
So yes, this has been the longest 2 weeks of my life.
Yeah.
And I talk to a lot of people who say the same thing. I was one of those that thought like 2 weeks, they'll figure this out and we'll be fine. Obviously we're almost a year later, but I am a cup half full kind of person. I used to always laugh. So in our office, not many people know this, but I don't mind sharing it. It's not like a secret, but there's a person on my team who does a lot of our social posts, kind of manages our newsletter, does all of those things. And so she's my sister. And not a lot of people know that. She is, if you know me, you know my sister, because she is the absolute positively complete opposite of me. Never wants to be in the limelight, never wants to be public facing. Like you would never, she's like the person behind the curtain. But I digress to tell you that a couple of years ago, we would do it like a Thanksgiving thing at the office where everybody would come bring a potluck and we'd, do the what were we thankful for.
Right.
And she's a tech geek at heart, and she was thankful for the internet. And we all laughed, ha ha ha, funny, Mandy, thankful for the internet because she loves her video games and she loves being, using technology, and she's our tech person. And fast forward to this year, she's like, see, I told all you people, because we were all like, thank God we have the internet to stay connected, because if we didn't, things I think would have been a lot more lonely and a lot more solitary. Right. So I'm glad that we have that. Networking in person is very hard and not as productive as it could be, because you can't meet every single person when you go to an event. Likely what happens is you walk into a room, you see somebody you start to say hi to them, and then maybe in passing you'll say hi to somebody else, or maybe you'll like try to find somebody you're trying to meet. And, at the end of it, before the program starts or whatever, what is that? Maybe 5-10 people and sometimes it's not even any new people, it's people you already knew.
Right.
So, and I'm not a new person kind of meter. Like, I love to be introduced to people. I'm not a big, like, walk up to a stranger and say, hey, how's it going? So virtual networking for me was advantageous because it was almost voluntary forced networking. Mm-hmm. A group of people voluntarily were getting on a computer screen to talk to one another, to get to know one another. And I met more people last year, locally, regionally, and nationally, than I ever have. And it's actually expanded my network, and it's expanded my my professional capabilities, because now I'm getting nationally recognized organizations asking me to sit on panels or be part of thought leadership and those types of things, which I don't know if that would have happened if we weren't forced into the networking style that we did over the last year. Right. I hope there's a hybrid. I want to go back to events when it's safe and I can see people's legs again. That's my big joke. When I actually see someone in person, I'm like, oh my God, you have legs. But I also think that from a productivity standpoint, having the virtual networking has been very helpful, because there's a lot of introverts that want to network, that want to get to know people. And this was a great avenue for them to do that without having to be thrown in a room facing a bunch of strangers. And on top of it, when we do go back to meeting in person, people's networks have been expanded so much, and it won't feel so uncomfortable when you do walk into a room that you're going to know people, you're going to recognize their faces. Right. And with our Business Connect group, what's a great thing about it is consistency matters. And so, yeah, maybe, you might come 4, 5, 6, 10 times, and maybe the first 4 or 5, you're not going to get any business leads out of it or whatever it is you're there for. But at the same time, people get to know you every time they see your face, and you get to talk. And in ours, we try to do a different topic every time we have a networking event, and I try to make them relevant. I get feedback from the group that are my regulars. And, today we talked about how to market yourself when you're part of a bigger company and there's rules you have to follow. Like the company says you can't say this and you have to say that. How do you market yourself and stand out as your own brand by also, obeying the rules of working for a larger company? And the mix of people that were on the call, at least in my breakout room, were a variety of people that worked for themselves or worked for bigger organizations. So there was so we try to do it so there's a lot of great feedback and a lot of participation where people all get a chance to talk. They all get a chance to share with one another. And there's been a lot of, over the last 3 months, I have gotten so many thank you emails on how those networking events have really helped them professionally, mentally, emotionally, because they've been able to interact with people and get to know so many more people. And it's really helped them out so much. So I really hope virtual networking will stay, because I think it's going to be, there are some people that just are going to like it better because it's a little bit more easy to do. But I want a combination of both. I'd like to be able to do both of those things. But we were joking today. I have I met my current personal lines insurance broker through a networking event. And she comes to the 401. I didn't meet her on my 518 one. I actually met her on somebody else's. And, but she just happened to say what she did. I didn't even realize that this business had a commercial division. And so we started talking and she helped me out of a jam. And so she happened to be in my breakout room today. And she changed her name on the screen to Miriam's favorite insurance broker. I said, from now on, just refer to yourself as that. I will personally introduce you so people know who you are. But, you know, she specifically said to me and Lauren Groff, who also does these with us, how this has really helped her, not just from expanding her network, but just her confidence too. So, you know, I think that's really important. And people do get to know each other really well. And people do business with people they like and trust and know. And
Absolutely.
time you get on a networking event and you can have that rapport build over time and you can show your personality and what you're truly made of, people are then going to gravitate to one another, and then more business opportunities, leads gen, whatever it might be happens. I mean, even with yours, I mean, there are people, it's so funny because you think you know a lot of people, and I do know a lot of people, but when I started going to your our hours, I was like, I don't know these people. This is a whole new group of people for me to meet. So I liked that because then it continued to expand my network. So, and it's just, I think networking as a whole is super, super important. But when you do it, when we took advantage of making it virtual, I think it really helped a lot of people that you know, didn't have that before.
It's a different style. I've talked about it with some other interviews that I make the comparison to, and just to get your reaction to this. Like if you were to go to a happy hour and tell 10 people you're going to go to happy hour at 5 o'clock, if it was in person, 2 people wouldn't show up, 4 people would be on time. The other, that's math, but the other people left would be late. And then when you get together, it wouldn't be one person talking and 9 people listening. It would be little pockets of little conversations going. So, and that's the, you know, maybe you do that on a larger scale with the breakout rooms, but still it's a number of folks talking, and you all kind of have equal play. It isn't either the quiet people would just in a normal environment would just either stay to the side, or you may not even talk to them at all. And this way, and then you hear something, and then it's funny because one of the people that's on somewhat regularly, who you know, Jessica, from across the ocean.
Yes.
I met in a breakout room and at your event, and then she's a number of mine. And it's it always because I said something because what she did, I had a relationship with, and I'd also been in her country, and I'd sung at a concert in her country, and that immediately made her like, what? So then we had our little conversations after that, and I potentially have some work to do with her. So this really can happen. It's not just, you know, I started it just as I need access to people, and people need something. And then the format I do is just no agenda on purpose, so that you can just have fun and meet people and just tell stories. And I know yours and Lauren's is somewhat of a different format, but that's great because they both do different things. And
and I think that's what's important is that you don't want to copy. If you can, don't copycat someone else.
Here goes my guard dog.
Because like I went to Miranda Von Frickens, and she's got the LinkedIn local, and her format's different. And I love her format, and I wish I could do it more frequently. So with Miranda's, it's better that we all have different formats, because then people get a different experience every time they go to different events. And Miranda's is different from ours, and it's different from yours, because it allows, Miranda does it where one person gets to do like a little mini presentation about their business and what they do, and then there's the everybody gets to introduce themselves, etc. Ours is everybody, and people get on the call now, even with mine, like 5 minutes early, 10 minutes early. I mean, I logged on today, and there was one person telling another person about how they were helped off a mountain skiing because they weren't cut out for it. It's just people are making their own relationships and making their own connections even before I'm on the call. And ours is a breakout room type of a scenario, which was actually Lauren's idea, because I didn't know how to put it together. When COVID happened, I was literally, Paul, contacting every single person I knew in my professional network for no other reason than to say, are you okay? Do you need any help? I'm here for you if you need me. Because everybody's got situations, everybody's got different family situations and business situations. And I just wanted to make sure people knew that I was there. So I reached out to Lauren, and I was like, dude, I miss you. And he's like, I miss you too. And we talked for a few minutes, and he's like, hey, to do like a networking thing together. Like maybe we partner up and we do it together and we do like an invite and we send it out to our list. And I was like, that's a great idea. And we, oh, maybe if we get like 20 people, we'll be happy.
Right.
And then we have to have like 5 moderators because we get, 50, 60, 70 people on sometimes. And so we try to do a topic related to, something businessy. It doesn't have to be exactly businessy. We've done things about mental wellness and how to be accountable with New Year goals and things like that. And everybody gets a chance to talk and, input their information and, just share with one another. And that's where I love that part, because that for me is where the magic happens, because it just starts exchanging information and it just really helps each other. And then we come back together. And then yours, I love yours, although I feel like sometimes I just need to keep myself on mute because I always want to talk. That's my problem. It's funny because once you start to know some of the people that are regulars and you're like, there was 2 weeks ago, I wasn't on one of yours. And I was like, did Eli get the room painted? Right. So it's like, I wanted to know that because I hadn't talked to him in 2 weeks. So, I think that's really, really important. But I think the other thing that's really important that for the introverts that want to do more networking is they have to try to participate. And so this was a way for my group, is a way for them to easily participate without feeling like they're interrupting somebody or it's not their time to talk. So while, I am purposely, when I do my breakout, I go from, basically box to box to box to box to box, and I ask everybody who they are, what they do. And then for the topic, most people will raise their hand, but then I'll call on people that I know might be shyer or quieter and give them the opportunity. Like, do you have anything to add to that? What do you think about that? Or I saw you were about to raise your hand. So having somebody who can prompt those conversations to keep them going is really important. And it's out what you put in.
I would, when during the ones that I host, when someone's talking, I'm always looking around the screen and seeing it's when moderating focus groups, you also would have a similar approach. If you've got some type A personality, so people are going to talk a little more, but you're looking around. I'm always looking to see if someone if they're on their phone, or they look like they're typing, or they're just they look like they're not that into it. I want to make sure that, and then I'm always looking for segues to get somebody to talk, because I'll know enough about somebody to either know their experience, what they do, or what they're interested in, and so on, so I can get them to jump back in and make a comment. With you guys in the breakout rooms makes sense. I always try to make it a smaller amount.
Right.
If it gets too big, then it's a little nuts. It's a little nuts, but
yeah, the chamber does that. Like they do that, and they're sometimes too big, or they'll do breakout rooms, but they try to round robin the breakout rooms. And so when you do Zoom and you're automatically changing the breakout rooms, sometimes some people end up with the same people a couple of times, and that's not anybody's fault. It's just the way the system works, which is difficult if you're trying to do that round robin scenario. I had a nightmare scenario happen with Albany Can Code. We were doing an event, and I wanted the employers to be able to have an opportunity to talk to the different classes of students. So what we tried to do is set up the breakout rooms so the students stayed in place, and then the employers got moved around. And I was in charge of orchestrating it. And it was, excuse my language, a bleep show. And I was just like, I can't, I give up. Like the stress I've probably ever felt in my entire life. I was like, and it didn't help that everybody really didn't follow my directions too. So like when I was trying to give warnings that people were going to go to other rooms, it ended up not being the great thing. I like the breakout room just to say the one breakout room, and then you don't have to worry about those things.
Well, at least I think there's as you heard, my dog during this, so there's more empathy and understanding. We see each other's homes. We're all in this together, kind of thing, because we're all kind of stumbling through it a little bit. I think we were pulled into becoming experts at this technology a lot faster than we wanted to, but I'm glad we have, and I think everybody is happy that they're able to do this. So
it's funny. I was talking to a gentleman the other day. I think he reached out to me because he saw the stuff we were doing with the Bridge Network, and he wanted to talk with me. And that's the best thing about networking. Even if you're involved with it, people reach out to you afterwards and want to have conversations. I love that. So this gentleman said last year, he heard this from someone else, and I'm totally stealing it from him. He said last year and this year accelerated the inevitable. So this stuff was coming, obviously, right? But last year accelerated our inevitable, that we were going to just become more digital and rely on technology even more so, those types of things. So yeah, it's definitely been. So I was like, yeah, oh my God, he's right. That's right. That's exactly what it is.
Yep. So now I appreciate the time, and then the my last question and my little stream of questions you already answered, and that was what, where we think this is going to go, and at least what your hope is. And I agree that because I think there's benefits to both, or both for efficiency, convenience, and also personality type, and the way that you like to interact. I've never been the type to go into a room and just say, hey, with people I don't know. I always try to, if I know somebody, and often I do, and they're talking with somebody I don't. That's usually how I get to meet new people. But it's a different approach with this. You go into one of your breakout rooms, or you come to mine, or these other events, and then there are people that inevitably you're going to find out about, and then you see that you got a similarity with, or you make a comment or make a joke of something they say, and then you wouldn't have probably had that in a big function. But
yours are great. Like even last Thursday with the buffalo pizza and then all of a sudden we talked about all these different places, and everybody had like a connection to a different pizza in a different area. It's just that to me is fun, and it seems like it's not business related, but at the same time, I feel that it still is in a way business related, because again, you're getting to actually learn and get to know people on a personal level, which then creates a level of trust if you want to end up doing business with them at some point. So I love that. And I consider them all. And, the walking into the room thing, I always confess to everybody that I meet that as outgoing as I am, I hate walking into a room, hate it. So I would always, oftentimes try to find a wingman.
Yep. Oh yeah. I've used that.
What I would do is I would ask someone at my firm to come with me, or what I started to do before COVID hit, and I was doing this for like a year before it. If I met people and we started talking, I'm like, listen, if you need a wingman, let me know if you're going to this event. We'll meet up and we'll walk in together. And so I started doing that with different people, and it helped both of us because we hated it. And two, I felt like, I was giving someone else support at the same time. So it's very likely, even when we do go back to meeting in person, even though it's going to be hard not to walk into a room where there won't be at least one person I know, I'll definitely be doing the whole ahead of time. Anybody going to this event? Want to meet up when you get there, kind of a thing, just to make it a little bit easier.
Yep, I did the same thing, and then you give each other confidence, and you inevitably know people the other one doesn't. So that's how you make new introductions.
Exactly.
I've done that before. It's a great way to do it, and you're not that single person, solo person, because I have been to somewhere I've known no one. Yeah. And then you inevitably do the pull out the phone thing, which is just because we all have to do that because we need to look like we're busy. We can't just be standing there staring. So and then you don't look approachable, and that's how the whole thing is defeating. But
it's a vicious circle.
So, but I appreciate the time, and it's good to see you just one-on-one, and we'll see each other in a little while with a large group of people, and back online again, and eventually in person. But thanks again, Miriam. We will thanks, and we'll talk to you again very soon. See you online.
Thanks. Good.
All right.